What we're trying to do is get our buddy Michael Blotz on the line, who's down in San Diego. Michael's he's just an awesome dude, man. He makes these incredible like wheelchairs to help these dogs and the families out of the parents of these dogs to kind of give these dogs back some of their freedom. There's so many different types of issues that are affecting dogs. You know, you've got emotional issues and behavioral issues and stuff, but some of these physical issues are, you know, they're paramount. And to have people on the front line that are doing something to kind of like give some of these animals back some of their freedom, you know, because honestly, especially if you go into these shelters, you know, I mean, a lot of these dogs are getting euthanized just for problems way less than, you know, they should be. And but anyway, I think we have Michael on the line. Michael, are you available?
Yeah, I'm here right now.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Show, sir.
I'm enjoying your show and your worldwide audience.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Tell us, how did you get into doing this, man? What came upon you to take you in that direction?
Well, at the time I had 3 rescue dogs, and a friend that was doing fostering was trying to get me to take on 2 disabled dogs, 2 different types of paralysis of the rear legs. And I didn't have the room at the time, but with I'm a chiropractor, and with that and my accident reconstruction training, I have a good understanding of the biomechanics, and I couldn't understand why wheelchairs weren't available for these dogs. And I got an education pretty quickly. The woman said is that most of the time the dogs don't use the wheelchairs because they like to lay down a lot, but they do need them from time to time for exercise and rehabilitation and such. And she couldn't afford to do that because they were literally, for that size dog, around $500 and up.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, they can go up to $5,000, and then, of course, there's some that are very fancy to the animal.
Yeah, I mean, they got rims on it. I'm like, what are you talking about, $5,000? I'm like, whoa,
gold-plated and stuff.
That's like a Paris Hilton style, or what?
You know, in this type of the pet community, when you have an instant problem and they kind of throw you, this is what it costs to fix it, you just kind of say, okay, and then you go do the research.
Right, exactly.
So anyway. I endeavored to take a look at some of the ways in which I could build a cart, and it took me about 3-4 months before I kind of built one in my head. I also had took in consideration when I looked at the different carts out there, they tended to take care of one problem and not be adaptable to different ones. Very few of them are actually custom made to that dog. They kind of take a generalized one and kind of adapt it, which is okay. But I wanted to do something a little bit better. And so I built 2 carts, made a couple of videos of the day that was put it on YouTube. And the foster mom decided it was so nice that she let the whole world know I did that. And so I started getting questions, and my plan was to build the carts, make some plans, and let the plans be free to whoever wanted to build the plans. And I found out the vast majority of people with hearts big enough to love dogs, especially disabled dogs, typically didn't know what end of a screwdriver to use. So I ended up starting making those. I created a website to give a example of how to measure the dog. And so now the miracle of the internet.
So you said you got a system where you kind of show kind of like the average person like how to measure the dogs to make sure that the apparatus will fit them and stuff. Yes.
On the website, there's a chart on how to measure them. There's other people out here doing this also, and we tend to borrow from each other. I've seen my chart used very liberally at some of the other sites, which is fine. The whole idea is to share. Every once in a while, I'll have a friend say, "Hey, somebody's copied your design." He says, "Good." That's the point. I can't take care of all the dogs.
How do people react like when they see these kind of apparatus? Because sometimes like people are real finicky about like how people like if somebody sees a dog with like a certain collar on, or like sometimes I'll see like back east like people have little booties that they'll put on their dogs to like keep their feet warm from snow, and then some people look at that and they're like, oh man, that's some form of punishment or whatever. Like seeing like a kind of like this apparatus strapped to like some of these smaller dogs. Like, what is the reaction that people give? Is it generally positive, or do people have problems with it, or just misinformed? What is your experience with how people's reaction is to the?
My personal reaction, and from what I've been told, has been overwhelmingly positive.
Good.
I try to work mostly with foster groups because I donate the carts to the foster groups all over the country, in the world sometimes. And they've been telling me that usually within 30 days the dogs are adopted.
Wow.
And I think part of it is when you take a look at a dog that, I hate to use bad terms, but dragging itself around a little bit, they identify with it more when it's in a wheelchair like a human being.
Yeah.
And they see that the dog is trying to make the best of its situation.
How long does it take you to make one of those, Mike?
If it's something that I haven't built before, they can take up to 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that I've built several of, usually I can do it very quickly in 2 and 3 hours, assuming I don't make any mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to take on projects that other companies just quite frankly can't afford to do. I mean, they're in business to keep their employees paid and putting food on the table, putting their kids to school. I'm not. So basically, I take on these challenges for dogs that have interesting neurological problems. My goal is actually to get the dog walking again. Mm-hmm. And from the stories that I've been told and feedback that I'm getting, about 50% of the dogs that use a cart, not necessarily just my cart, but any cart, regain their ability to walk if they're given the opportunity to.
Wow, that's because of just continuing to exercise the motion of walking as opposed to dragging around, or what?
Absolutely, because when they're on the ground, they adapt to pulling themselves along, so they start using different muscles. This is my own theory anyway.
Right.
And you get them horizontal again, they continue to strengthen the muscles they need for normal walking. So when whatever problem that caused them to be disabled starts to mitigate somewhat, their muscles and nerves are still ready there to allow them to walk again. And some of the carts basically take over the job, such as lifting their feet off the ground, which allows them to move around a little bit, but they're not using their legs and they'll lose them.
Right.
What I try to do is, if I can, to let the feet touch the ground. Sometimes put little booties on their back feet because they will drag them sometimes. And that way they're encouraged to use them versus putting them in stirrups. And some of my carts do have stirrups also because sometimes there is nothing that can help them.
Do you make these for like larger dogs, or because a lot of the pictures that we were seeing, they're a lot of featured with the smaller dogs. Have you attempted to do stuff for the larger dogs? Maybe like pit bull sized dogs.
I do get requests for larger dogs, and right now the methods and the materials that I use really lend themselves to a smaller dog design, about 15 pounds or under. I've done a few up to 35 pounds. I have a pit bull of my own, so hopefully she'll never need one. But I will work in that area at that particular time. But there's other people that are doing that. There's a gentleman in Texas that is doing it for larger dogs, and I tend to direct people his way, and he directs people my way, depending on what they need.
Mm-hmm. Well, Michael, what we're going to try to do is get down. You're in San Diego, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think at some point, Danny and I get down there, and we do some videotaping of you, so we can go more into what you put together.
Yeah, absolutely. But with these gas prices, man, I might have to we might have to scoot down there like some of these injured dogs or whatever, because filling up my truck is bananas. But anyway, guys, that's our good friend Mike. Michael, tell them how the people all around the world, where they can get in contact with you, not only see some of your work, but perhaps if they've got an injured dog, how to get in contact with you and possibly work with you.
Well, they can search the internet for Pet Ability, 2 separate words, Pet Ability. I've tagged it onto my business. I teach doctors how to do evaluations and such, and so I have an online school, and I just tuck it on a back page to keep all the costs low, so everything goes towards the making the cards. Or they can email me at my Yahoo address at drblott@yahoo.com.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, man. That's such a, we just got creative people all over the place today. Yeah. We got Lynn in the house. We got Michael.
And Michael, remember, go to the pool Go poo poo.
Yeah, man. Send all your people that you got on your roster. I mean, I just love being around creative people. Even Laura's creative. She went in contests with dogs that aren't even here anymore, man. Diesel in the house. Do your thing. We'll catch up again with you, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy. We're definitely going to scoot our way down to San Diego when time permits. And take it easy, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.